Welcome back to the Excellency Esports stream as we are continuing on our coverage of the semifinals matchup of the century here. CB Rush taking on Fever. The series tied 1-1 now as the sides are finally going to be swapped here, Gunjin. Fever on the blue side, CB Rush now taking on the red side in Frosty's Aurelia from game number 2 going to be banned away.
Yeah, Fever opting to take the blue side. They feel like they could take that first pick away. They didn't want to kind of have a situation where CB Rush could kind of opt for one of those high priority picks like the Aurelia, like the Diana, which I'm, again, MIA. I'm waiting for her to be out in the series. Yeah. I expect her to be available, but CB Rush kind of opting back to those same bands with the Tristana and Xayah, again, leaving the Thresh open. Xin Zhao finally is available and is instantly locked over by Fever, the strongest jungler in the meta right now. Incredibly strong early game, and now setting up your Mad Q to kind of have an impact in some earlier settings of that game, in game number 3.
Now, just like Jax, he maybe gets his hands on a real weapon this time around. No Hecarim, no Lilia, but Nelson going to be right back on his favorite champion. He's locked in the Braum.
He is locked in the Braum. It is tried, true, and tested. And Daddy Rutledge said, I'm locking this Braum in for you. We're either playing Braum top or you're taking it support. So you get your choice of pick. They lock in the Braum. I'm expecting CB Rush to probably pick jungle here as well. I don't expect them to pick AD. There are ADs available like the Ezreal, which we saw in game number 1 and 2, swapping sides each time. But they are just going to lock in the Ashe. Braum felt like it was strong enough in the bot side. Didn't really get exploited too much, but Fever, I would be interested, but I'm not going to get baited by it, Mac. Not yet. Karma hover, and it is locked in.
Not Nelson's favorite, as you talked about before a little bit, Gunjin. Huh? It is Rutledge's favorite support, and Karma Sivir for Fever. It's going to be interesting. I don't know for sure if that's going to be a Karma support. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes a different lane here, but the Karma Xin Zhao, I feel like the more notable combo, because this is going to be one heck of a skirmishing team from Fever.
Yeah, Karma Xin Zhao has been such a strong kind of duo pick in that jungle mid or even that jungle top role, but I'm surprised we're seeing the Sivir. The champion hasn't been picked, feels like in 7 seasons, because it's just not that good. Champions that do her job just better. Like she provides wave clear, and that's kind of her gimmick at this point as an AD carry, but there's a lot of AD carries that can provide wave clear. Jinx, Aphelios, Jinx with Thresh, Aphelios with Thresh. Champions you can pick instead of Sivir, and even right now, champions that we don't see in mid-league is Poke Varus, which has been prominent in pretty much every single league, kind of having that early game kind of really strong Qs, kind of able to zone out fights. Not seeing it here. The Sivir locking is interesting. I'm interested to see how Zara plays with it, but it's a surprising pick in playoffs.
Who would have thought we would be getting ourselves into an Ashe Sivir bot lane matchup with Hecarim picked 2 times in this series. Set gonna be banned away. CB Rush taking some of Stubby's favorites off of the board, notably Kennen still available. Silas and Gwen going to be taken away from Rutledge in the top lane. So it begs the question, are you going to R4 top or are you going to R5 mid? Gunjin, I'm going to lean towards R4ing for mid and saving the top lane counter pick for Rutledge.
I would actually say R4 top, just because I feel like Rutledge is a little bit more flexible in what he can play. He can play stuff like the tanks up top side. We are going to see the Nico. This should be a Frosty. You got me, Mac.
Let's go.
I'll wrap my verse alive then, I guess. But Nico being picked up here, a champion that Frosty likes to play. He does play it similarly to the Lissandra. Big AoE team fighting, teleporting all around the map, making things happen, especially with the help of his jungler. Mordekaiser being hovered for the side of Stubby. It is a very blindable matchup up top side. It can get kind of poked and outlaned by champions like the Gnar, something we haven't seen in the mid-league. Champions similar to like the Kennen, but I'm interested to see what Fever is going to play in the mid lane. as we are seeing a Lucian hover.
Lucian is going to be the choice. Rice every meal on the Karma. Very interesting for the support champs right now. Nelson says, bet you take that Braum top, Rutledge. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. I want to play fun support. No, it is going to be Rutledge getting hovered for the Volley Bear in the top lane to head right into the Death Realm. Stubby on the Mordekaiser, absolutely a carry threat. And that's actually going to bring out the Cho'Gath response here. I'm wondering, Gunjin, does CB Rush have enough damage to make this game work?
It feels like they don't, but I will say, Mac, this is feeling a lot like Spring Split. This was kind of CB Rush's MO in Spring Split when they were Meme City Esports, where they would run these low damage comps, and I would always say, like, how can they carry? They carried through Acid. Acid had those pop-off performances on the Lilia back then, as well as the Hecarim, where you just be this kind of buffed horse getting all this CC and initiation from his team, and he was the primary gold funnel and carry. So this feels like this is looking a lot like Spring Split, because we have very kind of stylized comp for the side of CB Rush, while Fever is running more new age with the Lucian mid, Mordekaiser top, kind of trying to split up the Megazord comp, as I used to call it, from CB Rush in Spring Split. I'm excited to see what Fever can do. It is going to be interesting because, again, we are going to see the Karma Sivir bot lane, something we haven't seen. Xin Zhao, that priority, You're Mad Cute, playing that early aggressive. I want to see what he can do early game and how he can impact this game in this game number 3.
I think notably, it's time for some new stuff, Gunjin. It's summer 2021 here in Mid League. Get this Spring Split comp out of my semifinals matchup. But CB Rush on some of these comfort picks in game number 2, they've found better success. They weren't sending it between 2 mid lane turrets trying to take down Evil Zara. This time around in game 2, all they really needed was a solid enchanted crystal arrow from downtown from the Bay to get picks and take over the map. Now this time around, I don't know if Acid is going to be able to play as aggressively as he was able to in game number 2. I think it's a really tough matchup into You're Mad Cutes Xin Zhao.
I feel like it's incredibly tough, but we saw from game number 1, it's not just that 1v1 situation. CB Rush plays so well with always making sure that their laners push exactly at the right time so they can always make it to the play first. And that's the big kind of factor that puts CB Rush always ahead of teams in mid-league, is that they always play this style where they're kind of giving up resources in their own lane to make sure that Acid has a good control and matchup versus whatever jungler he faces, and then it always pays off. Acid is the return on investment that is like 30%. He will always give you your money back, and he will always give you that game.
But I gotta think, I'm honestly giving the Fever lane advantage to their champions this time around. You got Lucian versus Nico, which I feel like Scruff is going to be able to dominate. And this is Stubby's Mordekaiser. Rutledge is going to have to play out of his mind on the Cho'Gath to pull this matchup off.
It's going to have to be that, though, because CB Rush, again, they have the comfort. They've played these matchups so many times. Cho'Gath, I've seen Rutledge on terrible matches before just go even, and that's all they need to do, because again, their big breaking point is going to be those mid-game team fights where this comp is so incredibly wombo, and in those kind of tight chokeholds we didn't talk about, but Fever's comp is pretty short range. They have the Mordekaiser as kind of this juggernaut tank, but Sivir and Lucian have to be really in there to kind of deal damage, and when you have Nico with a 2.5 second root, Braum applying his CC, Ashe ulti, Cho'Gath being a person, and then Acid running around on probably Triforce or Divine Thunder or Hecarim, it's going to be really scary to deal the damage. So even though I think Fever does have a better scaling and better kind of spiking comp, it's going to be hard for them to really get that damage out unless they get a big early game lead.
I do want to take a moment to look a little bit more in depth, Gunjin, at this bot lane matchup. It's something very different from Rice Every Meal. The first champion outside of Leona Nautilus for him in the playoffs. It was 4 games of Nautilus and 1 game of Leona last series, and I believe it was 2 games of Nautilus in a row for him. Oh no, it was Thresh last game, my bad. It was we did get to see his signature Thresh last game, but it's very different here for him on the Karma. Not going to be able to really pop off in the way we saw him consistently do during the regular season, just able to find engage after engage after engage.
We're not going to see the kind of pop-off playmaking of Rice, but I do expect to see a lot more of an early game dominant Rice. If I'm touching my crystal ball, Mac, I'm gonna see what Fever's early game plan is. What I see right there is that Sivir does lane well into Ashe. She can kind of push her in. Karma is going to be able to kind of poke out and chunk Ashe and Braum, and so I expect the game plan for Fever early on is going to be to have Karma, Sivir chunk and push Sivir and Braum in, Xin Zhao and Lucian to kind of push in mid and then dive bot side. That's what I expect from the side of Fever, and that's what I kind of want them to do to really put a foothold in this game. Because again, if this game starts going late, it's going to be harder and harder for these short range AD carries to really get that damage out. For the side of CB Rush, though, it is going to be all centered around making sure you don't get shoved in and have Acid's back whenever he looks for those early game invasions, because you know what's going to happen. He's going to go in and he's going to try to make something happen. If Acid's wild ride could go 1 or 2 ways, usually it's always an upward trajectory, but we've seen it, Mac. Acid's wild ride on Kindred is sometimes not the best place to be.
All right, but are you favoring CB Rush headed into game 3? That's what I got now.
I would favor CB Rush. I think that this is something that they've run all the time. I think this is something that they're always comfortable with. And for the side of Fever, they have to be proactive in the early game, which I feel like sometimes they're not. I feel like they're very reactive to CB Rush's mistakes, but I want to see them be a little bit more proactive in their own decisions.
All right, Gunjin is favoring the old favor in the spring composition, favor in the spring team, CB Rush. I'm not going to go that way, Gunjin. I have a lot of faith in this Fever composition. I think they're going to pop off and go to match point against the #1 seed. Meanwhile, though, as the champions and players get loaded onto the Rift, me and Gunjin are going to hop into a quick break. Don't click out of that browser. Game number 3 going to be coming at you live in just a little bit.
That we have on hand versus Fever. They scrapped and clawed 5-game series versus Bucky's. I don't know if you watched or even just watched a little bit of it, but they've qualified to now face you guys in the semifinals. And then I want your thoughts on the team and then thoughts on the overall series and kind of the game plan that you guys have.
Game plan, I can't really divulge anything about that, but
no leaks.
I'm trying to say you're gonna go a 5-game series against Bucky's one time. There's a problem here now, right? I mean, no hate aside, Scrub is a pretty dope player. Who's their top lane? I don't even know about the top lane anyways, so who cares about him? Yeah, I just think mid and ADC, if they can't do anything, their team's just done.
Mid and ADC, I like that. His name is Stubby. If you didn't know, all-pro second team top laner. I want to talk about your matchup versus Zara. Again, you did say it was one of the AD carries you respected, and obviously Zara has put up monstrous numbers as an AD carry in mid-league. Just thoughts about that matchup versus him and Rice in the bot lane.
I feel like Rice is just holding Zara down. I'll be honest with you. 100% honest. I think that's just evil Zara doing his thing. Anyways, I mean...
what a hot take.
Other than that, I guess... just trying to say this cocky mindset. I can't get banned out. I can tell you that much. So we'll see what happens.
Can't get banned out. Zara does have some of those bans. I mean, we've seen in a lot of these series where Zara just gets like 3 to 4 bans against him. I do want to ask, not about your game plan, obviously not picks and bans, but just in terms of focus of that team. Where are you guys going to be targeting? Is it going to be just shutting down evil Zara, or is it going to be more about like just scaling across the map? Because the strategy that Bucky's was using was just running a bunch of globals and then just beating everyone on the map and then just 5-manning Zara bot lane. So is that kind of the strategy you guys are going to adopt, or is something else cooking?
I just feel like we're just a faster, better team. So if you can skirmish early, there might be a big problem trying to scale up to the late game.
Ooh, I like that. Fast, early, intense gameplay. I'm excited. I do want to ask you some of your thoughts versus about the No Fear Wolves and the Death Cars Academy matchup happening on Excellency Esports 2 right now. Your predictions, your thoughts on that series, and I want a hard prediction. I want an exact series number about that series. What are your thoughts?
I think it's gonna be No Fear Wolves 3-2.
3-2.
Let's go see how good this ADC is on the bot lane.
Welcome, Summoners, onto the Rift for game number 3 of the semifinals matchup between the number 4 seed Fever taking on the number 1 seed CB Rush, able to even up the series in game number 2. Both teams now looking to push to a match point here in game number 3. Either way, it's going to be Mac and Gunjin in the casting booth. Acid bringing it back in game number 2. Now, I think Gunjin going to have a tough time getting ahead here in game 3 with your Mad Cute on the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, he's definitely playing old age versus new age jungling. He's not going to get caught out, not going to die in the invade. Is just going to get flexed on. He's actually getting the ward placed on him. A little bit of a flex from your Mad. How does it feel? Now I have my ward. No ward for you. They do get the... Ooh, Rutledge?
Gotta be careful. That's going to be the hammer getting dropped down by Stubby, but he gets a little bit of vision back. Your Mad Cute headed down to the bot lane.
Zara is something I want to note. Zara is starting tier on Sivir with lethal tempo. I'm going to be interested to see Muramana, I guess, is going to be the start. We have seen Sivir's kind of... So I actually looked it up while we were on break to kind of look up what Sivir does currently, because I haven't seen this champion since Season 7. Right now, she is being picked as a Ziggs counter pick in the bot side, where she can kind of spell shield the Ziggs bombs and then finally have some push versus that obscene champion.
Right.
Besides that, though, she has not been getting real play, and most of the time she actually gets played as a lethality-centered champion that's basically like a Varus, like a dollar store Varus. That's basically what she's getting picked at. And so I'm surprised Zara's playing the lethal tempo. I'm surprised he's taking the tier start as well, because this kind of shuts down any sort of laning advantage you can get. There is still going to be the Karma in the bot side just poking out, poke after poke after poke, but there shouldn't be too much action down bot, which again favors CB Rush because they want their bot lane to be pretty much stagnant and be that engaged threat later on.
Rutledge. I had a feeling Gunjin was going to be a rough lane matchup, at least for the start. He is in a tough position, but with Corrupting Potions and with that Cho'Gath passive, able to heal up back a little bit. Stubby, he's in control though, and Nelson with that Unbreakable is going to make Zara's life a little bit tougher on the Sivir.
It looks like we are getting a little bit of a split map, but it looks like your Mad Q might be getting 3 buffed as he has... No, he's actually taken the Acid's blue buff, so it is going to be a split map situation, but Frosty might look to get caught out here mid.
Scruff has to try to pick which one. They picked right. Frosty able to flash away despite finding the double snare. Isn't going to get a whole heck of a lot. And now look at Acid Gunjin, a little caught out.
Acid is caught out, and this might be Acid's wild ride because he doesn't have lane priority here, so he could just get caught by either Stubby or just your Mad Cute running him down.
He doesn't have Flash, he does have Ghost, and he's getting pinched here in the topside jungle. Gonna try to Ghost his way out. Look at Frosty covering the escape angle. The wild ride turns into the great escape, and Acid gets out of the jungle.
He gets out. He's going to be able to pick up bot side Scuttle, but they're just going to kind of trade sections of the map. And you can see the difference from game number 2 and game number 3, because in game number 2, Acid's able to get the solo kill, blow the flash, and just have all control of the top side. But in this situation, with the lane priority going in favor of Fever, they're able to respond. They're able to make Acid burn his summoner and at least get some sort of cooldown. But Xin Zhao's looking topside.
Stubby, does he have the claw off cooldown? He's dropping the hammer, the knockdown coming through. Rutledge gonna try to flash away, and he's able to survive Gunjin. He escapes the gank, but Fever, they are the ones in control.
They do get Rutledge's flash, but they do end up trading it for your Mad Q. I felt like he didn't have to flash. He is kind of using the pressure in the early game to try and get advantage in these lanes. He's getting summoners, but again, if these summoners don't turn it into any sort of either gold or lane advantage, then it's just advantage to the side of Acid, who's just been able to clear sides of the jungle without kind of any pressure besides that early pincer.
Acid is going to be spotted out on the top side of the map. Your Mad Cute dropping down a trinket ward. CB Rush, though, they know where the vision is at. Your Mad Cute now going down to the bottom side of his jungle, but Gunjin, as you were talking about, not a lot there for him.
Yeah, there's nothing there for him. Acid is able to clear another camp, go over to his trail, another camp, and your Mad Cute is just kind of falling behind in terms of jungle pathing just because he was using a lot of his early game pressure to get those ganks off. It is going to mean that Zara and Rice are trying to freeze a little bit down bat and maybe stack a wave to try and do that dive play that I was mentioning. Your Mad Cute is here to try and make the play, but he's just going to go for that Mountain Dragon. Is spotted on that bot side scuttle, but there's nobody on the side of CB Rush that is going to be able to respond, so they should be just Mountain Dragon for the side of Fever.
Good use of the bot lane priority that Fever are prone to get this time around. Contrary to the first two games, Gunjin, your Mad Cute playing towards the bottom side of the map and able to get an early dragon this time around, as the smite not going to come through. Evil Zara with the secure, helping your Mad Cute out. Look at where Acid is on the map right now. He is he's just living in your Mad Cute's jungle at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. You can see, again, your Mad Q is getting ganks off, he's blowing summoners, he's getting dragons, but he's falling so far behind in jungle tempo right now because Acid is clearing every single camp he has. A 21 CS lead in the jungle is massive because right now Acid is 5.5 levels while your Mad Q is barely level 5, running around trying to get something, but Nico might have smelled something out.
Frosty has to be careful not to get caught out here. Acid gonna do-si-do around your Mad Cute. I don't know if he was able to secure the wolves. That's gonna be some tea. I don't think so because his CS didn't go up. So overall, I think advantage Acid.
Yeah, advantage Acid. He tries to get something done, but he kind of gets smelled out by Nico. Again, advantage for the side of Acid because, again, unless something happens, those flashes are about to come up soon. Frosty's flash comes up first, Rutledge's flash comes up second. So unless there's a massive advantage that the Solars are to get with those summoners, it's advantage for the side of CB Rush as gold is completely even. The only difference is that Mountain Dragon, as we are in kind of a lull state. Something I wanted to talk about, Mac.
Yep.
New items.
New items.
Change. That's how I'm pronouncing it.
All right.
I love that item. Okay? And the reason I love it is because I love the fact that there are items in this game that are so kind of focused for one strategy. So we have Hullbreaker, which is obviously the split push, 1v1, I'm going to break your towers. Right. But I like Anathemas because kind of the change that's been happening is people are rushing this item as their first item to basically say, the enemy top laner will never kill me, ever. And I hope Rutledge ends up buying this item because this item, unless it's against true damage, makes it so that the enemy top laner is basically always exhausted. He can never force the 1v1 solo kill. And as Rutledge on this Cho'Gath versus Mordekaiser matchup, I think it would be a great item for him to pick up. But that is my thesis on Anathema's Chains as we see a bot lane play.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Rice every meal, locked up, going to be able to flash away, but here is Acid, the charge, certainly devastating, and the blood oh so sweet, first going over to Debate, the Onslaught of Shadows, Evil Zara, he stepped up too far, that's going to be the Glacial Fissure absorbed, but the Acid swing coming in, 2 kills picked up in the bot lane.
And I feel like Zara just kind of lost control of where he was there because, again, Rice is dead. Everyone knew that Rice was dead there, but Zara just walks up a little bit too far. Acid had not wasted Onslaught of Shadows, gets the fear off. They blow every single summoner and still die in the bot side. 2 plates going over, a kill to the side of Debate, a kill to the side of Acid. It is a absolutely terrible play in the bot side for the side of Fever and a massive boon for the side of CB Rush.
Your Mad Cute does pick up the Rift Herald for Fever and can potentially look to open up this top lane a little bit, as Stubby has been absolutely handling business. And look at Scruff in the mid lane, Gunjin, CSing out of his mind, doing his best Zara impression.
Dictator, Scruff, and CS, name a better duo. He's just CSing pretty much 10 CS per minute every single game. Again, your Mad Cute's able to pick up the Rift Herald. I want to see what he's going to be able to get with it, as it shouldn't be a play just due to the strength of Stubby. They can kind of force this Rift Herald down top to kind of give a more of a gold lead. But if you look at the gold lead up top, even though it is a kind of a commanding lead for the side of Stubby, Rutledge is only down about 150 gold. So he's been playing out the matchup completely fine, even after getting his flash burned early.
Feeling fine, not doing half bad, Gunjin. Fever and CB Rush going back and forth a little bit, but it is over a 1.5k gold lead for CB Rush early on. Though if we look at the lane by lane advantage, Debay missing the arrow, that's going to be ultimate out of Evil Zara as well. It's only slight advantages for Stubby and Scruff, despite dominating the lanes and not letting Rutledge and Frosty really breathe too much. Gunjin, Frosty and Rutledge, they're holding it down so far throughout the early game.
Yeah, they've been able to get a lot of work done. Frosty's able to kind of just take the pressure that is Lucian mid. And the biggest thing that's happening down bot side is that Zara and Rice can never really contest the wave. They're obviously able to clear just due to the kind of the range they clear minions at, but they're so incredibly scared because no summoners. The second that Hecarim gets his ultimate backup, the second he gets his ghost backup, that is a free double kill down bot. So Rice and Zara have to play incredibly safe down bot. And this is going to mean that Dragon kind of early priority is going to go in favor of CB Rush.
Evil Zara with Rice every meal, not a lot of mana on the Sivir, but CB Rush feeling comfortable. That's going to be the winner's bite. Absorbed Zara, well played there. Stubby now in
Rutledge
the
TP.
bot river. Frosty has to be careful not to get caught out here. Rutledge does have teleport available. Nelson going to be able to go unbreakable, but is he going to get caught out here? Your Mad Cute just backing off still. Does have the Rift Herald, Gunjin.
He has the Rift Herald, but there's a massive flank ward. If you look behind the bot lane right now for Rutledge, he was sitting in base, so I thought he was going to pull the kind of cord and just go for the TP, but he's just going to go down top. This is a Cloud Dragon, so again, neither team has to kind of run themselves in, but Cho'Gath.
There's the flank you were talking about. Gunjin Rice every meal gonna get stunned up here. Frosty going to get zoned away, but Zara's caught out. Rutledge has found his feast. Your Mad Cute getting so low. CB Rush popping off. It's a double kill for the Cho'Gath. Make it a triple kill as the first team All-Pro top lane feasts on Fever.
And it's not the flashiest play. It's not a Stubby 5-man Kennen ulti, but that's all you needed right there. A beautiful ward was placed down bot side, and it was just a perfect flank ward because Zara and Rice were trying to push up, trying to get some sort of kind of at least in range for the gold from the Rift Herald, but it baited them into that position. Rutledge gets the TP off, gets the bite onto Zara, gets the CC. They end up wiping the fight because Dictator Scruff also couldn't walk down into the play. Again, it's coming down to what the stylistically CB Rush does well, which is self-sacrifice for the greater good. They will sacrifice their lane positions. They will sacrifice priority if it means they can make it to the play first, and that's what they're doing. They're always making it to the play first, and they're always succeeding in these plays, and CB Rush now, with a 2,000 gold lead, take a commanding foothold in this game. Not going to say lead, just a foothold in this game number 3.
Feeling a little comfortable, Gunjin. Would you say they're in the driver's seat?
They may be in the driver's seat, but it's in Europe, so they're in the opposite driver's seat. So it's like, are they actually in the driver's seat? You know, it's one of those situations.
Are they really, though? It's kind of a fake driver's side. Well, regardless, Acid and Your Mad Cute both getting their mythic items completed. Debay and Zara in a much more supportive role, I feel like, for this matchup. It's going to be, I think, up to Scruff to really pull up big for Fever. Massive CS lead right now, and they're making a teleport pay into the bot lane. Here is Stubby finding his pick. There is Debay taken down. Fever find a kill in the bot lane.
I like the play. They double TP, they catch the Debay, but again, they aren't going to get anything off of it. There's enough wave clear from Frosty where the tower should be safe. There's enough. Oh,
here's a huge ultimate. The wombo combo coming in and CB rushing. 2 quick kills onto the board. Here is Stubby ultimate used. It is Acid caught in the death realm. He's do-si-do and he's got a lot of legs to work with, Gujin. And there is the 3v fight going over. CB Rush are making it work. And there is Acid and Frosty leading the way.
it was just too far, too quick. Fever try to make the play. They double TP. They say, we're gonna break this tower. But it doesn't matter in the end because they try to invade and they get caught by a beautiful play by Frosty. Massive engage. It gets wiped. Rutledge picks up tower up top as well. Now this is a 4,000 gold lead for the side of CB Rush. What a team fight. What a play. And the big performers, again, old age, sometimes experience is all they need. You can have all these new age comps. You can run Lucian wherever you want, Mac. But if you got the tried, true, tested Hecarim Nico, Spring Splits coming back with a vengeance as CBR take now a commanding lead in game number 3.
And I think we're kind of seeing why Rutledge is locking in that Braum for Nelson during the draft. Holy smokes, 008 this time around. He is having himself a series on this Braum in the new look Evil Zara Rice Every Meal Sivir Karma duo. Kind of falling short here in game 3. They're gonna have to try to find some fights where they're able to maybe poke out CB Rush because the Rush engage is looking unmatched.
The Rush engage is really incredibly strong. My biggest problem with this, and this is something we talked about in draft, incredibly short range. So whenever you are hitting any member on the side of CB Rush, they can immediately turn around and engage on you. And with the tools that they have, Nico, Ashe, Hecarim, Rutledge just running at you and being a body, it's just hard. Rutledge is looking for a play top.
He is so tanky. Your Mad Cute is the first one to get caught out. That is going to be the Crescent Guard, but is it going to be enough? He can't defend it all. Rutledge is on a rampage as CB Rush look to extend their lead.
They pick up the kill onto your Mad Q and the bigger...
Acid gonna go under turret. The culling does come out. But look at the zoning from Frosty. So much damage. He went for the Luden's Tempest, Gunjin.
The amount of damage and the amount of penny he has with everyone stacking armor, he's just dealing pretty much true damage to these squishies. The biggest part of that is your Mad Q is right now dead for this dragon. He is walking back into the play, but he might not be able to make it before the fight starts.
Acid able to recall very quickly. Look at the Hecarim performance coming out of the first team All-Pro jungler. 307, 100% kill participation, looking to push his team towards potentially getting Ocean Soul. He wants that 2-1 Drake lead as the wave clear from Zara and Rice is just too much for CB Rush to try to push through.
And with the massive minion wave up top and Dictator not having TP, this should just be Ocean Dragon. This is going to be another stack for Rutledge, who is sitting on 7 stacks at 18 minutes. He is so incredibly tanky right now. And the problem is the damage profile from the side of...
Engage coming in. Frosty flashing to take down Rice Every Meal, who has just been the target of arrow after arrow. Debay takes what he can get, and CB Rush are just ruthless with their engages right now.
CB Rush is having Rice every single meal and every single kill. 0, 4, and 1. It's not what we expect from kind of that playmaking star of Fever, but he is just having a pretty terrible performance. Again, this Sivir Karma lane, we called them out in the champ select, and they just have not been effective. They've just not been able to get damage. They've not been able to kind of walk up to these fights because they're just so tanky right now. With the damage profile that FVR have, Rutledge is basically unkillable. Acid is running around with a massive health and damage steroid, and they can't even walk up because Frosty is such a nuisance with these Nico abilities that I don't know the name of. So this champion is not relevant besides when Frosty plays her.
Right. Funny enough, I mean, we don't see the champion all that often, but he has been making play after play happen with the ultimate Pop Blossom. And Zara right now on this Sivir, who I think we were hoping would kind of do a bit better in the early game because of the double range matchup, because of the potential advantage. If it wasn't for Acid getting down there, I think early, it would have been a different story. It would have been a different match. He's selling the tier of the goddess now.
He sold the tier. Yeah, I just saw that too. This is one of those situations where it's like, I guess you just cut your losses, but at this point, I mean, you have the tier pretty much stacked up. It's not like you're getting much gold from it, but he feels like he just needs to pick up the last whip as quick as possible. With this Gale Force build, one thing that I was going to talk about, having the Karma, it's one of those situations where Gale Force is nice, but they're so incredibly tanky that you might just want to have Kraken Slayer because you need to deal as much damage as possible to even hope that you win the team fight. So I feel like Gale Force is kind of a cop-out. He is going to go for the second item, Last Whisper, and it's just kind of doom and gloom because there's just not enough damage. And with the soul timer being around that 30 minutes, Sivir will get time to probably hit that 3-item mark, but at that point, she's going to be so kind of gated into,
Acid looking for the kill onto Scruff. He's going way under the turret. Gunjin, it's going to be another wild ride. Look at the culling. Look at the kill, though. Acid, he's on a rampage, as that's going to be an important pick. Stubby looking to get up into the top lane. He does have the Death Realm available. He is not going to be able to use it. He gets exploded by Rutledge. He is nomming on everyone. You're mad cute, going to try to get out, but look at how tanky those health bars are. Nelson getting in on the fun. It is 3 picks going over to CB Rush.
I think it's a little bit more, and we are going to have a replay of that as the CBR roster heads over to Baron and tries to make the Baron play happen. But what an engage. Again, Acid just runs down Dictator Scruff. There's nothing he can do because of the item and gold lead that Acid has over this mid laner. Runs him down. They try to make a response play, but again, they're just not strong enough. There's not enough damage on the side of FVR. Every single member that tries to approach is entering the Rutledge fun zone as he just knocks you up, eats you up, stuns you, and there's just nothing you can do. What a game by CBR as they take now a full driver's seat. We're going with this driving analogy. They're going 65 miles per hour down the freeway, and they're heading towards the game number 3 win.
And Acid able to just lay on that nitro boost with the Ghost. Him and Nelson having quite the team performance together. 13 kills for Acid, participated on 12 for Nelson's Braum. They are the stars here in the semifinals.
They're having just amazing performances, and these were kind of the players that you wanted to see perform. Again, Nelson is a new player on this formerly known as Meme City Esports roster, and Meme City Esports didn't get to kind of accomplish the promise that was there in Spring Split. They were knocked out due to some scheduling issues, and it was incredibly unfortunate because they looked so dominant, and you thought maybe they could do it. And like, again, you always think they're the best team in the league, but maybe they don't perform in playoffs. Well, they're showing you they perform in playoffs. This is the real deal. Acid, Frosty, and Rutledge, they've stuck with this team. They've rebranded to CB Rush, and all of the fruits of their labor is playing off because in game number 3, they have such a massive advantage, and it's one of those games where it's kind of disheartening to play through because you know there's just nothing you can do to get anything done. Zara has to waste Sivir ulti to just try to escape as Rutledge is just 1v1ing Dragon, who is just smaller than him at this moment.
Rutledge is growing to scary proportions here, as CB Rush look to get onto Soul Point. This isn't Gunjan's Cloud Soul that he's not worried about at all. Oh no, this is an Ocean Soul potentially on the table for Rutledge to nom on in about 4 minutes 45 seconds. But look at CB Rush. They are focused on starting to break open this base. That's going to be a potential inhibitor turret on the menu next, as the inner turrets across the board falling down.
And with the buffs that we saw in 11.13 to inner turrets, again, that inner turret bonus local gold 250 each is such a massive boon that inner turrets now have exploded this gold lead up to 10,000. Again, for the side of Fever, they need to make those kind of desperation plays where they go for even an uneven trade, like just trading 2 inner turrets for a top lane outer, just to get some sort of gold so that their mid and AD can pick up the double Last Whisper items to try and cut through the tanks, but it's just not enough. It's one of those, it's like a graph, which I call the tank graph. And it's basically, can I kill this tank or is he too tanky? And right now, Rutledge is way too tanky, Acid is incredibly too tanky, and even Nelson feels unkillable, so there's just nothing they can do. They don't have enough wave clear, and in 3 minutes and 40 seconds, Ocean Dragon is spawning, and that is the worst thing to even think about when you're facing a Cho'Gath and a Hecarim.
Absolutely. Acid getting the Starax gauge online. Yes, the marksmen for Fever are getting their 2-item power spikes, but the rest of the map is a little behind. Nelson has got the Thorn Mail completed and locked up. Rutledge with the Abyssal Mask is going to cause a world of hurt when the CB Rush squad looks to group up and look for a game-ending fight. Gunjan, do you think they're going to play it safe? I just don't know if they can push through the Evil Zara wave clear just yet.
From watching these games, I would initially say yes, they will play it safe and wait for the scaling, but my mind tells me that they're just going to run it down mid and look for an engage.
Rutledge, the size of a turret at this point, gonna get caught out by the grasp. Fever looking for the engage, but look at the counter engage coming in. Frosty with the flash in is going to find Rice every meal a whole heck of a lot of damage as the Pony Express is coming into the back line. Acid has a double kill to start things off. Stubby's taken down. Rutledge dominating. That's gonna be a triple for the Hecarim. Acid popping off in CB Rush, dominating game 3.
And this should just be game 26 minutes in, and the only thing that's ringing in my ears as they initiate onto Rutledge of all members is, you're not that guy. You're not that guy, Fever. You don't have the damage. You're too far behind. There's no hope. You do not pass go. Do not collect $200 because 27 minutes in, CBR take a commanding lead in the series, 2-1. They take a commanding game 3 performance with every single member playing out of their minds, and they show that old school spring split CB Rush can get it done because they just trounce Fever in game number 3.
Oh my goodness, they get the ace, they get the nexus, they get match point. CB Rush, after falling in game 1, pick up 2 quick wins and are now only 1 game away, Gunjan, from moving on to finals.
And it feels like it's just, again, this was predicted. The people were saying that this was either going to be a 3-0 or a 3-1. I still believe that this can go to a 5-game series. We've seen that Fever can fight back. We've seen that Fever can kind of make things happen. But what I need them to do in game number 4, especially in draft, is to kind of enable the playmakers. Again, Stubby on Mordekaiser is dominant. He is a lane monster, but he's not able to make the difference in those team fights like we saw with the Kennen performance. Rice, his Karma is able to kind of dominate the lane, get them a CS lead, get them some gold lead, but in these team fights, he's not as useful as when he's playing champions like the Thresh, like the Rel, like the Leona. So I want them to enable their playmakers, make sure that Zara is on that hyper-scaling late-game champion, and kind of go back to what is comfort, because that's what's going to beat CB Rush. You can't just pull out some trick out of a hat and expect CB Rush to be like, we've never seen this before. These guys have played with each other for years on end. They have experience. They can deal with all of the cheese, so you need to go back to fundamentals and try to beat them with your play style.
And I want to point out how many times we've seen Rice Every Meal and Evil Zara pick up kills in the early game, finding level 2 hooks, finding those critical picks to get themselves a lane advantage. You're Mad Cute finally playing a little around the bottom side of the map after picking up the first dragon. It was all CB Rush consistently finding their engages. And when we're worried about heading in to game number 4, Gunjin, Fever have a very important decision ahead of themselves. Something every team runs into when they try to take on CB Rush. Do you try to ban what works, or do you keep banning the Talia and the Kazakhs?
I think you have to ban Talia and Kazakhs. It's one of those situations where it's like, maybe they can't play it. We've seen they can play it. We've had games where teams have lost bans, and we've seen the Talia and Kazakhs, and it's just a menace to deal with, because not only do they beat up the mid lane, it's the problem is that their roam potential into all of these side lanes is so just unbearable to deal with. I would say you still ban out the Talia and Kazakhs. My switch up is make sure you enable top end support and get Zara back on hyper carries. I don't want to see Sivir anymore. I didn't want to see her in season 8. I didn't want to see her in season 9. I definitely don't want to see her in season 11.
Gunjin has had enough of the weird picks. He's all about the spring, all about what works. The engage for CB Rush certainly doing themselves a whole lot of favors. They've managed to get themselves in a position where they felt they should be last season. Rutledge was feeling it at the beginning of this season. Now the first team all-pro lineup is proving their worth in the semifinals. Don't click out of that browser. Gunjin and Matt gonna hop into a quick break as we get all ready for game number 4 draft. Don't tune out here. The series is just heating up.